it's John from Seattle Coffee Gear. I'm here in the new studio today with my first crew review in the new studio, and it's going to be a good one. We're talking about the Helios 65 grinder from Eureka. Eureka has had the same commercial grinder lineup for a while now. They've had the Zenith, the Olympus, and the KRE, and those have all remained pretty much unchanged. So we're excited for the new Helios lineup to come out. We got the 65 and then later on the 80 as well. We did a sneak peek of the 65 a while ago, and it got a good bit of attention for our standards. So we're excited to put out this review here today. So if you're familiar with the Eureka lineup, you probably already guessed that it has 65 millimeter burrs, which it does. And as far as I can tell, they are the same burrs that the Zenith comes with. So the burrs themselves haven't changed, but the motor and a little bit of the mechanics of the chute and the forks, and then obviously this new interface, that's changed. So that's a bit of a design change for Eureka, going with this more premium feeling grinder. So big changes in my book would be that this is all metal now. On the other Eureka grinders, the control panel here, the module is plastic, which doesn't feel quite as high of quality. The grinders all have been really robust and really durable. I've had great luck with the Zenith, Olympus, and KRE in commercial settings. So I'm excited to see what this will do with even more sturdy construction. Has all the same features that Eureka is known for, just a little bit different. So you can adjust that chute up and down. You can actually, if I remember correctly, you can now remove this chute for cleaning, kind of similar to the Malkonig chute that's also removable. And then similar to the other Eureka grinders, the fork is adjustable up and down, so you can loosen that. And then this just slides up and down depending on your portafilter. I got it stuck. Got it. There we go. So what I like to do for these, set the portafilter in there and then adjust it and leave a bit of room and then tighten it back down. They did redesign this piece here that holds the portafilter in place, and it is much sturdier here than it was on the previous one. Because on the Zenith and the Olympus, stop that. Don't start on me like that, grinder. Turn it sideways here so you can see. I'm just going to turn it off. So as you can see, there's a bit more lip here holding the portafilter in place, which keeps it much more secure. And then the rubberized piece on the portafilter fork here also keeps it much more secure. Wasn't really a problem on the last grinder, but I have no issues with leaving this here. It's really hard to get it to fall out, and it doesn't have to be absolutely locked down in there with the fork to keep it secure. So I do like that change to the grinder. Just the rubberized addition here, and then also this knob here. I assume that over time that rubber probably will wear down, but that fork is a really easy piece to change. So if you get this and in 3, 4, 5 years the rubber is wearing out, you could replace that pretty easily because this fork just comes out with that screw right there. So you could just swap a new one in, super simple. As I was showing a second ago, the power button is on the side, so there's a main power button there. And then there's also a hopper kill switch. You'll see the light go out here. So once the hopper goes in, it activates a little micro switch and turns the grinder on. I have mixed reviews on that. I haven't had a barista stick their hands in a grinder while it's running, but it is a nice safety feature if you're concerned about that. And they did do a good bit of design on that micro switch to make sure it won't have issues. Because that's something I've seen on some of the Mozart grinders that have the kill switches for the hopper, is that switch over time just wears out and you start seeing issues on it. So let's take it apart real quick. I'm going to grind some coffee to get some out of the chamber there. The burrs on this one are pretty fresh. So I would say that the Clumpiness is a bit more evident when the burrs are new, but as you can see, it's not perfectly clump free. Let's get to the end of this here. Not perfectly clump free, but once you redistribute with a distribution tool or your palm for tapping, it does get rid of a lot of those clumps. And you're looking at 5 to 6 seconds for an 18 to 20 gram double shot. And that's pretty fast for a 65 millimeter burr grinder, but it does not transfer much heat to the grounds. So it's not spinning so fast that it's transferring a lot of heat to the grounds. On the E65S from Mahlkönig, that is something that I noticed. If you ground 2 shots within a minute, that second shot would have quite a bit of heat transfer to the grounds. I don't find that as much just because it seems like the burr speeds might be a little bit lower on this compared to the E65S. So remove that, set it to the side. I might knock that over. A little Easter egg for the blooper reel. The top of this is secured by a small screw back here. Get that removed. Almost there. And then this piece pops off. So you can see the little micro switch here. It is secured with a screw. So it is pretty darn sturdy in there. It doesn't fall away. I got my hands on a pre-production model of this and it didn't have that screw in there. That was some of the feedback that Eureka was getting, so they made this more sturdy and we haven't had any issues with it in our testing. So works well. And then you have clips there and there that hold the wires for this. Just want to make sure that it's not dangling anywhere. So if you're just letting it dangle like that, you want to be careful that it's not just resting on the wires. So with that top out, as you can see, the upper burr carrier is very similar to the rest of the burr carrier designs. It still has that same auger in there like the rest of the Eurekas do. Not much has changed there as far as burr design and burr chamber goes. So I won't get too far into that. Watch me do that. Make sure that power cable is, there we go. No? There we go. So then I can pop these back in place and that sits right back in, and then our screw goes in the back of it here. So for cleaning, it does have the same burr setup that the rest of the Eureka grinders have. So you can remove the top burr without it affecting your grind setting because the bottom burr is the adjustment burr. That's the one the motor is connected to. So cleaning is really easy on these. We did a video on cleaning one of the Eureka grinders, which you can find on our channel. So if you want to see more in-depth info on that, check out that video. Let's put the hopper back on and get into the programming a little bit and start grinding some coffee. So programming, let me get around here so I can see. So pretty similar to a lot of other grinders. You have your plus and your minus here. If you can see just from how I'm tapping this, this screen is really, really responsive. It's probably the most responsive touch screen that I've seen on a piece of coffee equipment, at least stuff that we carry. So it just works really well. You get 3 different grind settings. So I have this one set here at 5.5 seconds for my double shot, right around say 20 grams of coffee. I can't remember if it was 19 or 20. And then you have a continuous run setting here. So with that closed, I can just go here and hold it. So that can be helpful for purging. And then you could set one of these up for like a 0.2 second bump if you need to add just a little bit more to your dose. The lowest it can go, do it on this one so we're not sitting here forever. You can go down to 0.05 seconds. So the rest of the Eureka grinders could only do, I believe 0.2 was the 0.2 of a second was the lowest they could go. This will actually go 0.05 of a second, which is a little ridiculous, but I like it. And then for the max speed, I haven't checked, so let's find out. This is an espresso grinder, so you're not going to be using it for long grinding times. I'm sure you could. I don't know why you would. You might see some heat transfer or some clogging just because this is designed to run for 5-6 seconds at a time. So 30 seconds is your max grind time there, and then 0.05 is the shortest amount of time. And then you do have some diagnostics in here. So you have your counters, you have a bit more info on firmware and all of that. And then you can go in here and do some doses. You can change the backlight on this. So if it's way too bright, you could lower it quite a bit. You can also change your display color. Can't go all the way around. There we go. And then you have to select the dose every time. You can reset your burrs it looks like this is actually shared with the Helios 80. So you can turn your maintenance on or off there. It'll remind you. And it'll also be able to tell you based on which burrs you have in there. So if you have the regular steels, the titaniums, the red speeds, or the diamond insides, it will calculate it based on how many doses you run. It will calculate it even if you run it dry, like I have it here. So there's no coffee being ground, but it is counting that as a dose that's running through the grinder. So keep that in mind. But really crisp and easy to use here on the touch screen compared to other products. And grind speed's good, 5 to 6 seconds. All metal casing, redesigned fork, and it has that holder on the bottom, has a removable chute to be able to do easier cleaning. So overall, I've been really impressed with this grinder. I had it at home for a little bit while we were all working from home. Really enjoyed the coffee on it. Similar to the 65 Zenith. So if you want to see us do some taste tests on that, we did do a comparison of that burr set against the Super Jolly burr set. So just search our channel for the Zenith versus Super Jolly comparison. We do those side by side and taste them side by side. So I think this is going to be a great grinder. I know some people are a little scared about the touchscreen interface, but everything that I've done with it, it's been great so far. I've had no issues with it. And I'm excited, as I've said multiple times, for this grinder to get out there, and I think you'll all really enjoy it. So let's go ahead and run some coffee through it here to finish out. Let me reset my time back up to 5 seconds. Do 5.5 seconds is where I had it. There we go. So I think that's a little too far back. Might move that a little bit forward. Dump it out. And then we'll just weigh it on our scale here. So this is about a 25 to 30 second shot at this coarseness. And then in 5 seconds, 5.5 seconds, we have a 21 gram dose. So pretty fast for a grinder in this price range. And also, I mean, the grounds are like a tiny bit above room temp. But if I go back and grind another one right after that, let's see, yeah, right around 21 and the exact same temperature there. So that's what you get when the burr speed isn't super high. You get something that grinds in about 5 to 6 seconds, doesn't transfer a lot of heat, and the dose stays pretty consistent. So I think this is a winner for a lot of those medium-sized cafes or carts. It's also not super loud and doesn't have as much of that shrill sound that the Zenith did. That's our crew review of this grinder. I'm sure it went a little bit long, but we appreciate you watching. Make sure to like the video if you enjoyed it. That helps us out. And then subscribe to our channel if you want to see more of our videos. We appreciate that. We're trying to put out good content all the time. So leave us a comment if you have questions about this grinder. We'll probably be doing some crew comparisons against other grinders with this. And then we'll also have a video on the Helios 80 coming out soon. So if you want to know when we're releasing those, subscribe. Make it easy on yourself and turn on the notifications for that too. And you'll see when we post videos. Thanks so much for watching. If you made it this far, I really appreciate you watching all the way through. Check this out on our website and make sure to check out the rest of our YouTube channel. Have a good one.